Hi there. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about fascia decompression and how it relates to stress relief and how that impacts the mind-body connection. So the first thing that we always have to discuss when we're talking about this is the function of the diaphragm muscle. The diaphragm is this beautiful plate of muscle that supports the rib cage and everything above. And when it is open and working properly, this plate of muscle, when we inhale, moves down in the body. When we exhale, it lifts. So when we're breathing properly, we're getting this continual heating, this internal massage. So think about what's in this area. We have our abdominal organs here. We have the heart, the lungs here. We have the aorta, the main artery leaving the heart, coming right through here. And here's the diaphragm. So when it's working, it's strong. We're positioned where we should be, and the function of the movement, again, creates a beautiful heating so that we can send blood and oxygen to all of these systems, all of these organs in the body so that we can function as we should. But the reality is most people aren't positioned in a balanced, symmetrical way in their body. Over time, we fall in, we collapse. This is common, this is normal. We're dominant on one side, so we don't just collapse in a linear way. We literally spiral down in one direction or the other. And what happens now is the diaphragm, because pain, fear, and stress causes to reactively hold the breath, it weakens over time. So now the weight of everything above comes crashing down when this muscle isn't strong, and we end up breathing through the muscles of the upper chest. So there's a bunch of reasons why this is really important to understand. But one of the things when it relates to stress is that when we're breathing diaphragmatically, we are living in the moment. And that also connects us to a very relaxed brain pattern. When we breathe through the muscles of the upper chest, it's connecting us to thoughts of future and past, which is where fear lives. The brain in this state is ego-driven. When we're breathing diaphragmatically, we're heart-driven. We want to connect the two together, but if we're breathing through the muscles of the upper chest primarily, we're kind of missing the boat on being in the moment and really enjoying every moment in life. We're in stress mode and we're relying on memory, and we're getting triggered through trauma responses continually in our day. Another thing about the diaphragm, when it's working properly, it keeps the vagus nerve activated. We should be in the parasympathetic state 80% of the day. The majority of people are in this sympathetic fight or flight mode most of the day, 100% of the time, and we only heal when we're in that parasympathetic state. They've also shown, Gary Brekka, I love his work. He's got so many phenomenal videos out there. In one of his posts, he was talking about how when we have oxygen, that's necessary for positive thoughts, where negative thoughts doesn't need oxygen. So if we're not breathing properly, we're basically living in that negative thought mode. And it was in Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now where he said, ego thrives on negativity. So all of these things, they affect our state of being. So what we really want to do is we want to understand how we can optimize proper diaphragmatic breathing. But the first thing we need to realize is if we've been compressed, as most of us have been, we have a frozen diaphragm, kind of like a frozen shoulder. You know, you can move your shoulder this far and it's still considered frozen if you don't have full range of motion. So you might still be activating some of your diaphragm, but if you're not activating all of it, then you're not optimizing the benefit of this muscle. And it is, in my view, the most important muscle to focus on because it's going to function whether we're conscious or unconscious. We're built to survive. So even if you're not thinking about breathing, your body's built to breathe. However, breathing diaphragmatically is a conscious act and very different than breathing through the muscles of the upper chest because, again, pain, fear, and stress cause us to reactively hold the breath. And this is a stressful world. Most of us are in this stress state all of the time. So I'm going to share with you 3 simple positions that you can do using a rolled up towel, or we always use our block buddy. Either one is going to give you benefit because it's the instruction of the breath that's key. So the very first thing that we want to do is understand how to activate the proper breath. Now, if you're pregnant, we don't want you diving in, putting a whole bunch of pressure on the belly. However, anyone else, give it a try. So there's 3 different approaches you can take depending on your comfort with this. The first one, I'm just going to show you how to do it, how we share in our classes. So I'm literally going to be lying right on the belly button. So you take your time getting in. block or towel right on that belly button, and then initially stay up on your elbows. And we want to stay in position for 3 minutes if possible. To begin, focus on that inhalation phase. This is what teaches you where the breath should come from. If you've been an upper chest breather for years or decades, it's not something that you'll just get right away. It's something that just takes a little bit of prompting. So you want to breathe into the block. This becomes the prop for you to feel where that breath should come from. Pain, pressure, and a pulse, all of these are normal sensations. But the rule is your breath is your guide. As long as you're breathing in a relaxed way, you're feeding and healing the tissue. If this hurts too much that it takes that relaxed breath away, then this is too intense, and shortly I'll share with you an alternate version. So spending 3 minutes here, for the first minute or so, really just focus on that inhalation phase so that you know that your body is working from the right place, almost feeling as though you're doing a push-up from your belly. And then after about a minute or so, shift your focus to the exhalation phase of the breath. Exhale for a count of 6. Inhale for a count of 4. Slow the breath down. If you can hear yourself breathing, see if you can pull back on the intensity so it's a relaxed breath. Now, if this is too intense, try doing this on a bed. Same instruction, but do it on a bed. If that is still too intense, and when you come up and out, hands under the shoulders and exhale up and off. If that's too intense, then we can approach this by lying on your back. And then you can simply place the block on the belly or the towel on the belly, and you can simply add pressure with your hands, and then you want to feel the belly rise with the inhale. And then you want to do that for 3 minutes as well. And then when you're ready, just roll over to one side, slowly use your opposite hand to exhale up. So that's the first thing. And just from doing that, you likely already feel a little different inside yourself because there's so much inflammation in the gut that's causing that gut-brain connection to be confused. It's almost like we have too many things in the way, so there's not like a smooth passage of information going from your brain to your gut and your gut to your brain. If your gut's full of inflammation, your brain's full of inflammation. So this work is really full body, but this alone is going to start to make a big difference because you'll learn to exhale more of the waste effectively out of the body, and you'll be pulling in far more oxygen into the body. But I also want to show you 2 more positions that you can do. So these ribs right here, again, the diaphragm is right here. This left side, this is your stomach. This is the aorta. The right side is the liver gallbladder. So it's really important that these organs are heated and functioning properly, because if they're not, we're going to be struggling, we're going to be toxic, and that alone is going to affect our stress levels. So very similar to the other. Again, you can do floor, you can do bed, or you can also hold the block against you as we did in the belly position. But simply taking your time here, slowly placing your body on those lower ribs. So for the ladies, it's just below the breast. You can take that opposite side out. And then as you start to settle in here, you want to start focusing on that exhale for a count of 6, inhale for a count of 4. And it will be an interesting sensation to begin with, because now you've got something putting pressure into an area that we're not used to having pressure. But again, your breath is your guide. As long as you're breathing in a relaxed way, you're doing good. If this hurts too much that it takes that relaxed breath away, then try the other 2 options. And then similarly, when we come on out, we want to place the block on the right lower ribs. And we want to spend 3 minutes in that position. So now that you sit up, you should notice a change in how you feel. You should feel lighter in the rib cage. You may also feel that you can take a deeper breath. We really want to make that full exhale the focus of our breath all the time. So anytime you can think of it, exhale for a count of 6, inhale for a count of 4. This alone is going to make a big difference if this is all you do every day. However, the way the fascia holds our body out of alignment, it is a full body approach to what we want to do to really create the most efficient system so that we can keep all of our cells where they're supposed to be positioned. We can feed everything optimal flow. When there's optimal flow, there's really little stress in the body. So this is just giving you a little bit of something that you can try if you're struggling with stress, and the reasons why and what you can do to have a calmer, more peaceful life. If you have any more questions about stress, the mind-body connection, and how fascia is really the system that we want to understand to be able to get out of these negative scenarios, you can leave a comment below and we'll get back to you.